Hi everyone, I am the CRM Ninja and I'm bringing to you another wonderful episode of The Oops Factor. Tonight I have John Levesque joining us. John, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. John doesn't really need much introduction to anybody who's involved with Microsoft community and Microsoft stuff. I mean, his YouTube channel is simply incredible and amazing. I follow it. I know a lot of other people do, his interactions on Twitter. I mean, you put some really great stuff out there and we really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I try to put out stuff regularly and even more importantly, I think I try and show the community, I try and get them involved in doing things and let them show their skills and help them grow a platform.
Yeah, and it really is appreciated. And as you say, knowledge shared is knowledge gained and none of us lose out. So from looking at your social media platforms, I have two questions, although I don't know if you can answer one of them, but we'll see. The
Okay.
first, I know. By the way, for anybody wondering what these things are in my ears, these are the Samsung Buds. I recently got a Galaxy S10 Plus, and it came with a set of buds, so I'm trying them out.
Nice. They
Different
sound good.
tech. Yeah, it's really good. Well, the microphone is actually my Logitech Brio 4K.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, and I know you use a Brio yourself. I've seen your kit on Amazon and things like that. So trying to get my kit together. I actually have a Blue Yeti microphone, but it's currently the cable for it is broken. So
Oh, too
this is
bad.
why I'm trying this out. Anyway,
Okay,
we'll see.
cool.
So number one is, until recently, your Twitter account, you had the title The Flow Guy. And obviously Microsoft have renamed it into Power Automate, which you've now got the Power Automate guy. But can you tell us if you knew the announcement was coming, or did it catch you surprise and then you realized you had to rebrand?
Uh, I actually knew about it long before most people did. It's
Okay,
just one of those things that I had to keep quiet because it was one of those internal, very secretive announcements.
sure.
And also, you'll notice I didn't change over to the Power Automate guy right away. It took me a few weeks
Yeah.
because I love Microsoft Flow. I miss the name Microsoft Flow. For me, it'll always be Flow. Like secretively, when I'm having conversations with the MVPs in the community, we're just all going to continue to say Flow. It's only in the public conversations where I'll have to say Power Automate.
Well, so many people still use the word flow. I mean, I was on a training session yesterday in which they were talking about flow, and the trainer kept having to correct himself. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I remember that when they announced Power Automate, Twitter sort of blew up. And I mean, I tweeted to say, I wonder if John's going to now become the Power Automate guy and what it was. So, okay, I figured that you would know something about it and had to ask. My
Yeah.
second question is, you have a love of drones. I've seen some of the
Mm.
amazing footage that you've shot. There was a video that you released yesterday, I think, showing the mountains the last season. How did
Yeah.
you get into drones in the first place?
So I've always been into video and photography, and I actually got an opportunity when I was working at Microsoft about 4 or 5 years ago. I had a boss that left for a startup, a drone startup, and
Ooh.
she actually asked me to come with her. I'm a pretty good worker. I'm good at what I do. I like to think, and so she was like, "John, come do what you do over here for the drone company."
Okay.
And so that was actually my first real interaction with a drone. And this was a drone called the Ghost drone. They no longer make them. The
Okay.
company didn't end up actually doing that well due to some business issues they had overseas. But that was what kicked it off. And that was what got me started on this path. I'm a big DJI fan. I have all their
Yep.
equipment, their drones. I have an Osmo. I have the Ronin. Like all of my filmmaking stuff is DJI. But that was definitely my
I saw in the video yesterday, you even have the gizmo to extend your coverage, extend your range, which I've seen some really interesting write-ups about online. And I saw them like, this guy really does have all the DJI tech.
yes, absolutely. I mean, because the drone can go far, but with that little range extender, a $40 piece you clip onto your antennas, it can go twice as far. And so for me, it's a
Wow.
no-brainer.
I got to try that. I recently played with one of the new Mavic Pro 2s. So yeah, it can be really
Isn't it
cool.
incredible that Mavic Pro 2, the tiny little drone, the quality of footage you get out of it is mind blowing.
It is unbelievable. Unfortunately, couldn't keep it because my wife said that it was a somewhat expensive toy. And
It is. It is.
one day, got a wish list of stuff. So yeah,
Nice.
Indeed. Well, thank you for, doing that up. And to anybody who hasn't seen any of the drone videos, I'm going to link to John's YouTube channel so you can take a look at it and see some of the other stuff. So it'll be in the description below. So now that we've gone from fun and games, let's hear about your Oops Factor story. What have you got to share with us?
Okay. So I would say my Oops Factor story is from 2008. I was working for a company who they'd given me this opportunity that I didn't quite deserve. I didn't know the tech, but the company liked me as a person and gave me an opportunity to grow into that position, to learn the tech. And so I took this job and I unfortunately, I didn't take it as serious as I should. I didn't learn the tech as quick as I should. I felt like my merit of who I was and the other things that I could do would make up for my lack of specific product knowledge. And so I just didn't take it very serious, the things they were telling me about, the time frames in which they expected me to learn things. And the real issue I think was ego. And that's something that I tend to struggle with often. I think people of my personality type who are A-type, who are very public, ego is something that we go back and forth with. And it's something, interesting because I think for my position, I have to have a bit of ego, right? I have to have a bit of bravado. I have to be at the front, like, look at me, right? To do what it is that I do. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword, because if you go too far down that ego path and it's too much about look at me and not about look at everyone else or look at this tech, then it becomes this problem where I suddenly feel I'm the important thing, when reality is I'm there to spread the message of the important thing.
So this is something that's actually, I mean, look, we all know it's quite common as, consultants and tech evangelists and stuff are going out there, we're pitching it to the client, we're pitching this picture, and we really need to believe in ourselves and build up that sort of, again, necessary ego platform in order to be able to go out there and speak very confidently about it.
Definitely. And so, some people call it confidence and I usually call it confidence, but there's that fine line where you transfer over from confidence to ego. And so what ended up happening was the company actually gave me a second chance. They said, hey, John, we really need you to get better at this tech. We know you're great at customer relationships. We know you're good at support. We know you're good at this and that, but we really need you to get better at engineering solutions. And so I'm not a technical person. I don't come from that background, right? I am a marketer through and through.
You're a marketer? You could have fooled me with the flow stuff that you've got.
I know.
Sorry, power automate.
No, that's okay. No. But this is the learned behavior. So the person you see now learned from that failure back then. I now am a much more technical person. I now take the technology much more serious. I now take trying to understand it at a much greater level, because what ended up happening at that job, they fired me. I went 2 years. They gave me like 2-3 different chances and I never became as proficient as they wanted. And I never got the certifications that they wanted. And at the end of the day, when I look back, I realized that job was never really meant for me. What it was a stepping stone. It was a pivot point. It was a set of lessons that I needed to actually head this direction. Because from there, it was a big wake-up call. I said, you know what? I am going to learn the tech that I'm involved with. And I am going to take it to the expert level. Not only am I going to learn it, but I'm going to become a subject matter expert. And so my next couple, engagements after that, I had Windows App Studio, which was my first Microsoft product I worked on, and I became an expert at that. I started in Project Sienna. I started their community, which is now what we know as Power Apps. Yep. I would not say I ever became an expert at Power Apps, but I became pretty good. Power Apps is a deep pool, and I would say my time there wasn't long enough to kind of get all I needed to get to become an SME.
It is. But then, admittedly, Power Apps is now a massive product, and there is a lot about it, and all the integrations and all the stuff you can do, and it just keeps evolving. So I think to know the entire product is really, really difficult.
Totally. And I think, the Excel expression language that kind of went along with it, I never really connected with it. But then came drones. I went and did that, and I dove in and I became a drone expert. And then more importantly, flow. And then when I came on Flow, that was my big thing, was I'm going to learn this through and through. And the workflow definition language sat with me a lot better than the expression language and Power Apps did. So I'm better at that. And just the idea of integration, kind of connecting things,
Right.
is an idea that I love, because I feel like in person, as a human being, that's something I do. I'm constantly connecting things. As an evangelist, you need that and they need you. Great. Let's connect all this together and make that happen. And Flow is kind of the same way. I need this, to talk to this, to do that. And so I can just wrap that all up, connect it, and it's simple and easy. And so the oops factor is I was overconfident. I let my ego get the best of me. It led me to be fired. But that firing was actually one of the biggest turning points in my life. It was where I realized that I was doing it wrong, and that if I was going to be successful and be the person I wanted to be, I couldn't only be a good talker. I had to also know the tech through and through. And so that's why I am who I am today, I guess.
Okay, thank you for that. Out of curiosity, when you decided, to do sort of that shift and realize you really needed to become the subject matter and expert and stuff, were there any books you were reading that sort of helped you work out how your strategy was going to be? Obviously, one could just, in terms of tech like Power Apps, fire up Power Apps, make.powerapps.com and start playing around with it. But in terms of sort of a more overall strategy about how you're going to do it, was there any advice that you got at the time that you sought out, any books or something?
So actually, I have not read many books in the last few years. I'll be honest. I have been running 1,000 miles an hour around the world. But I will tell you, one of the biggest things that helped me transform my mind and get through all this very quickly was a program called the Landmark Forum. And it's not a very well-known program. Some people do know about it.
I have heard of it. In fact, I've actually attended a Landmark introductory session.
Okay, awesome. Well, the Landmark Forum was a integral piece of my transition. For those of you that don't know what it is, the goal of it is to teach you why you think the way you think, and then how to undo that thinking so that you can create new thought patterns, healthier thought patterns. And so I think that was a big part of it as well. It wasn't a book. It was a real in-person experience. And I think a lot of it too was just me being sick and tired of being sick and tired. I kind of hit a point where I was like, I'm ready for a change. I'm ready to be successful. I never wanted to get fired again. That was the only time I've been fired in my life, and it was a terrible feeling, and I never wanted it to happen again.
Yeah, it's not fun. I've been let go myself, so I know what it can be like. So funny, you just want to sort of pick yourself up, and you've got that determination. And as you say, if you can find that thing to help empower you, whether it's a book or a program like Landmark, or a coach or a mentor or community around you, all of those things are really, really important and can really help. So
Definitely.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your story. Now, if I could ask you, if you would nominate someone to come on the show and share their experience, and you could have free reign as to who you would like to nominate, who would you nominate? The catch to this question is that I will ask you possibly to make an introduction if I can't get through to them directly.
Okay. I think you should get Melissa Hubbard on the show.
Okay.
Melissa Hubbard is a Flow MVP. She now actually just got a job for Microsoft, and she wrote the book on Microsoft Teams. But her journey and her life story is an amazing one. She's come from a very interesting background, and to be where she is now, it's just a testament to her willpower and her abilities. And so I think she'd be a great guest.
Wonderful. I believe I'm already connected with her on Twitter and LinkedIn, but
I think so.
Can't get through to her, I will let you know.
I got you back.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Also, and I know, John, that you won't do this, but I'm going to do this for you. John's partner isn't a graphics artist or design or something, but is great artistically. And John is slowly taking over the world with his, more power, less code?
Less code, more power.
Less code, I got it the wrong way around. Less code, more power. Slogan and logo, which you can get on hoodies and t-shirts and a massive amount. So I'm going to drop a link in the description as well to John's online shop. And if you get one, take a picture, tweet it, put it on LinkedIn, tag John in it. So John can see how global his reach is going, because I'm seeing it crop up in many, many places. So
Oh, I love
it's
that.
really great. Yeah.
I love that. I love seeing them all over the world. My favorite thing is waking up in the morning and seeing a couple of tweets of people wearing them. It's widespread. It's fantastic.
It's also on my list of things to get. The problem is that I go to a couple of shows a year and get free T-shirts. So I have 2 shelves in my cupboard full of T-shirts, and my wife is like, "Not another T-shirt, and you're going to actually pay for one?" And I'm like, "Come on, this is community and stuff." She's like,
It's a
"Okay, you know
special
what?
one. This is not just
I know."
any T-shirt.
Well, I'll tell her that John has said that I need to get it. So new year present for myself.
Awesome.
Anyhow, thanks so much for your time. We hope that you, the viewers, have enjoyed this episode. Please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, see the playlist with the other Oops Factor stories, and take a look at my blog. Have a great day, everyone.